Presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we come to you in this hour, asking for your guidance and protection to our virtual gathering today. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of work, and the gift of friendship. We thank you for this great opportunity to bring us together in this session as brothers and sisters. Bless the committee, the facilitator, and the attendees of this gathering. May we continue to value and appreciate the true essence and meaning of life with the help of your grace. And as we go along our discussion today, we humbly pray that you would deepen our understanding. Lord, enlighten us and give us wisdom every day. Forgive us for our shortcomings and remind us to always be mindful of the things we do in life. We offer our life and our decisions to you, O Lord. May this gathering today create a memorable experience and a fruitful outcome. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and our Savior. Amen.
Hello, and good afternoon, everyone. So I hope that everything is in order from where you are right now, and the weather is good. We are very honored and we are very happy to have with us this afternoon Professor Dr. Ridwan Sanjaya, who is from SCU Indonesia. And you have probably noticed that I just mentioned SCU. I have already forgotten how to pronounce it, and I will leave it up to Dr. Sanjaya to mention how it's supposed to be pronounced. I am very sorry, Dr. Sanjaya. So, Dr. Sanjaya is, as I have already mentioned, from Indonesia, and he received his PhD in Computer Information Systems, or CIS, from the Graduate School of Information Technology, Assumption University in Bangkok, Thailand in 2011. So he is a United Board Fellow and currently serves as the Rector of SCU. And aside from our speaker for this afternoon, we are also very happy to have with us Miss Alfie Arcelo, who is going to be our moderator, and of course, Dr. Dave Marshall, who is joining the panel for our session, our live session for this afternoon. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that our participants, numbering at around 70, close to 70, they're slowly coming in. So I am pretty sure that they are very excited. They have already mentioned and they have already reacted to the tools that Dr. Sanjaya was able to show. Even I was very amazed over the tools that are available. No, so I am going to give the floor or the screen to Ma'am Alfie. Ma'am Alfie, you can go ahead, and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for that one, Sir Te. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the live panel discussion on tools and platforms of technology-enhanced flexible learning. As mentioned by Sir Te, I am Alfie Arcelo, and I am actually a member of the OER component of this project, and will serve as your moderator for this afternoon's session. Yes, it will be a very exciting afternoon for us. We have our esteemed speaker, Dr. Ridwan Sanjaya, and he will be joined by Dr. Dave. Yes, he will be joined by Dr. Dave Marshall. So for our knowledge deepening, our panel will discuss your posted questions about tools, platforms, and then gamification and collaborative work tools also, augmented reality, and of course, virtual reality. So let's not waste our time. Let's start our discussion with tools and platform in technology enhanced flexible learning. So, Dr. Sanjaya, I will throw the first question. What are platform examples under gamification and then game based learning that are very useful in online classes?
Yeah, thank you, Ma'am Alfie. Good morning, Dr. Dev. Good morning, everyone. About the question, the platform for gamification and game-based learning. Actually, we can find a lot of tools, a lot of platform in the internet that already provide for gamification purpose and for the game-based learning. But we have to make clear first, gamification is not a game, but game-based learning is a game. Gamification is for increasing the interest to do some activity, but game-based learning is a game, but have also the function for learn. For the gamification, we can find in the internet, such as Level Up. Level Up is a plugin for the learning management system like Moodle, or we can use Open Pages. Open Pages is a working initiative from Mozilla that already called as a Mozilla Backpack, but now changed to Pet Backpack. We can use Open Pages for any platform that we already have. But for Level Up, we only find for the Moodle learning management system. And game-based learning, I think we already tried before, such as Kahoot, Quizzes, or Quizlet, or GameKit. Or for the computer science faculty, sometimes they use RPG Maker. They can design and creating and also playing the game, and the purpose is catch the material for learning, but they also playing the game. Thank you, Dr. Alfie.
Okay, sir. So I was really that was very good that you highlighted that gamification and game based are totally different things because in game based learning you already have the game as your platform. Yeah, thank
Right.
you for that one. You also mentioned about some platforms that could be used by computer science courses, but how about platforms of technology where enhanced flexible learning are applicable to courses with practicum subjects like the allied health courses, because here in our country they are the ones who are already experiencing minimum face to face.
Yeah, this is a good question. Even though I didn't see the perfect one as a human did, several technology for visualizing or remoting the activity in the lab have been developed. Augmented reality and virtual reality have been developed for years to visualize the practicum activities. A robot or hand robot using the Internet of Things able to help us to do the activity in the lab remotely. We can try the tool from unitear.com to visualize the object in the lab using augmented reality. Or we can also use a tool from victoryxr.com to virtualize experiment using virtual reality. And I have the example, a robot that can cook, and we can see at a robot restaurant called Spice at Boston. I think Dr. Dev already there because Dr. Dev also UB fellow. Is the example that we can use it also in the lab to mix various chemical liquids in the chemistry lab. By using Internet of Things, we can practice remotely using that machine from a distance. So even though it is not yet perfect developed one, but is almost able to have any remote activity for the human. Thank you, Dr. Alfie.
Okay, sir. So you were trying to tell us that they could be like simulation tools, even if it's remotely done. And then yes, and yeah, we have robots already. Even in our school, our College of Nursing have their own robots for treatment and stuff like that. So I hope you also have had experiences with those kinds of AI, no? So let us have based on experience. So I will give this question based on experience. One indicator for a successful flexible learning is increased time of student engagement in activities. But what are some indicators of a successful, the using of tools in flexible learning? So there is like a plethora that we have around, and we have the tendency to experiment and mix and match, especially if they are new to us. But how do we really select which ones to use best for a particular content to teach? Sir Dave?
Yeah, that is a very good question also because as mentioned or as observed by many, there are actually a lot. But I think in a country like Philippines, the number one consideration is how much bandwidth would it be needed for this particular application. That's one. That's very basic. Second is go to the customizability, meaning can you customize this kind of application, whether a game based or gamifying your virtual classroom or your virtual technology enhanced flexible learning. And the third is appropriateness in relation to your learning outcomes. Last week, we talked about Bloom's digital taxonomy. I want you to go back to your verb. I want you to go back to your learning outcomes because the tool that you might be using may not be appropriate to the kind of learning outcomes that you are going to achieve. In terms of success indicator, the only thing that I think I could think right now is on the engagement value, how the students are engaged. Why? Because many applications naman, there are many applications that records logs, that records engagement, that records how much they enjoyed, and pair it with a quality and a quantitative evaluation if the students enjoyed with that kind of gamification.
Thank you, Sir Dave. So really, no, if we mix and match, we should make sure that it actually is in line with the lesson if we are using these kinds of digital tools. So we now move our discussion to gamification. I know everyone is waiting for this one. So I have watched the video and I agree with Dr. Sanjaya when he said the successful learners are the actual gamers. No, they need to be involved with the activity in order to form connections and create their own learnings. Is there a proven procedure or on how to design games as part of the lessons, and something that would serve as a guide when we make one, if ever we ever make one? Dr. Sanjaya?
Yeah, thank you. I cannot say this is the most proven one, but based on my experience in my classes within these 2 years, there are classes that I add gamification and some that I leave as is. In a class with gamification, I add certain condition that if student can achieve it, they will gain the experience points and can reach the next level when the point reach the limit. Using only basis point, many students try to pass each other, so the class feels alive. After I add additional condition for who can take the quizzes or activities in the class based on their level. So if they already in level 3, they can get the bonus level, or they already get if they have 5 level, so they can have the bonus assignment, something like that. So the average activity of student in the class is increased. But the class that I live as is without gamification uh, is only the normal class. Is only the normal class that we teach based on the grade. Yeah. So uh, for the class with gamification, more feel alive. Yeah. Some of the lesson that I learned from those experience in making learning gamification, we have to manage the range of points and level to be competitive, then provide badges that trigger student interest, and also use their level of achievement to carry out the activities they want or they need. As the result, we can see it will encourage, and it will encourage the student to do many activities that we can provide in the class. Thank you, Dr. Elvi.
Thank you for that one, sir. Yeah, games would really make them have a healthy competition in class, and it's really effective in terms of transfer, even during face to face. And when it's an app, no, based on experience as well, when it's an app, generally both teachers and students have to download them, and the teacher has a different interface because the interface would mean they will have to be able to edit or add conditions for that particular platform, while for the students it's more of the participants interface. As teachers, we give our students access to the most practical app available. I mean, this is a question which was asked also in the open forum, and which is, um, are there open sources for apps like these, Dr. Sanjaya? Um, is it
Yeah, thank,
yeah, for the one that you've shown in the video, is it even part of the Moodle's free version or your platform's free version?
yeah, yeah. All the gamification I described in the slide, almost all of them are available for free. Although not all of them are open source. However, for additional function, the provider provides additional features at a certain cost. That's if we really need, we can pay. But based on my experience, we can use the existing features and we often feel enough. But we have several scenarios if we want. We can use the application based on web, so nobody have to download. Or we can use like such as Kahoot. Kahoot is application for the web, but also provide the application in the Google, the Google Play Store. So we can ask the student to download. But it depends on the teacher. We can use the web page, so nothing have to be downloaded. But we can use also the application that the student have to download for play. Thank you.
Yes, as teachers, we give really our students access to the most practical app available, which is the one that's for free.
Yeah.
Like for my students, I require them to get their Office 365 accounts that's available to them for free in our school. But there are courses where a paid tool is really like needed, so they have to announce it from the get-go if it's part of the course. Okay, so thank you for that one, sir. We move forward to gamification. No, it's like seems to be a great tool to enhance learning and well, for me, I have tried some. I personally suggest also to some of you to access h5p.org for you to be able to reuse and customize their interactive content. So maybe after this session, make time to access h5p.org jamboard.org. You can also follow the steps for each content you want to reuse, and the steps are also available on the website. So it's not really that hard to search for it. And when it comes to online tools to integrate during live sessions, because there were questions about this one in the open forum, we have when it comes to live sessions, we have Mentimeter, where you can introduce polling, and then some word cloud, and there are really many more to do or to share to the students. And I have also used Jamboard because I've seen Dr. Sanjaya's video. He was mentioning Jamboard. So um, do you have any suggested link or references other than those I've mentioned, Sir Sanjaya? Or apart from some of the functions of Jamboard and Zoom's breakout sessions, which you also have mentioned, uh, are there other standalone apps or websites you can recommend for gamification?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Alfie. Actually, it's a lot links that we can use to learn or to be the gamification tools in our class, but uh, I don't provide it for this time, but you can Google this information using the keyword level up or gamification plugins, such as like that. So we can find several tools or several tutorial that we can use the gamification tool for the class.
Yeah.
But like Dr. Alfie said, Jamboard or breakout room in the Zoom is actually tools for work collaboratively. We can use gamification inside Jamboard. We can use gamification inside the breakout room. But as a platform, as a tool, Jamboard is only for the work collaboratively. So we can mix Jamboard or we can mix breakout room with any gamification tools that we have or we use for the class, Dr. Alfie.
Yes. Um, yes, it's really like we could actually like mix and match, yeah, for the sake of more interaction and more engagement for students. And then we if we are not yet users of gamification, yeah, or if we haven't really been using it in our class, let's not overwhelm ourselves. We actually, the ones that we have mentioned and what Dr. Sanjaya has mentioned, you could just look into them and that maybe start with one or two in order for you to be able to have like a smooth journey with gamification with other lessons in your class. So thank you for that one, sir. Now, yes, everyone is excited to explore these tools mentioned maybe after. Gamification is already a technique used for a better understanding of the lesson. But let us ask Sir Dave of gamification techniques that could really facilitate learning. Maybe you could shed light on gamification in education. Some examples,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. As mentioned by our speaker, Professor Ridwan, when we say we are going to gamify our class, there are two strategies, either gamification and the game-based learning. It was explained that game-based is there is a different forms also of game-based. And while gamification, it's basically gamify in many things or many aspects of teaching and learning. One is you can gamify your delivery, meaning you don't need to have the quiz, you don't need to have a scenario. All you have to do is to just simply gamify how you deliver the content. So instead of just simply talking and discussing, why not gamify the delivery? If you will ask me why, what? Let's say, for example, having the video instead of some instead of having a pre-recorded lecture video, which will appear very boring to the students, integrate or use H5P where there are flashing questions in between the video. and students cannot move on to the video if they cannot respond to the question embedded to that video. And that is basically gamifying your delivery. Another one is gamifying your content, meaning you are going to incorporate a game component into your teaching resources. Okay, into your teaching resources. That H5P is one, that's the lecture video, but a very more or a clear example to gamification in terms of your content is like this. Instead of a PowerPoint showing your resources, all the content pasted into your PowerPoint, incorporate questions inside your PowerPoint where that question is linked to another repository of your resource. That means if students, say for example, in your PowerPoint, you have a multiple choice there, just like a formative question also. In your PowerPoint, you explain about what is principles of teaching. Instead of simply putting all the content there, you will say in one of the slides to proceed to the next topic, answer the question posted in our virtual classroom. And then a lock-in key will be provided for you to be able to access the next slide. Something like that. That there is play, there is fun in relation to the content. And the most popular gamification part in education is the assessment. That is why literature is actually saying that in all gamification we are doing, there is always assessment, whether formative or summative assessment. Okay, so that's gamification technique, and there's a lot actually, but I can share with you with that three basic thing. You can gamify your content, you can gamify your delivery, and you can gamify your assessment. Assessment can be married to, can be coupled with feedbacking. Diba? We have a problem. Students, the teachers are not giving feedbacks to students, to the performances of the students. We can actually automate, we can actually apply gamification in the feedbacking. Just like in our LMS, there is a little component of gamification there where you cannot move on to the next resource if you cannot perform the required activities for that.
So thank you for that one, Sir Dave. So is what are the elements of a well-designed learning game? No, so
Okay.
you were talking about yeah, the techniques. This time the well-designed learning, the well-designed elements for a learning game.
I can divide the element of gamification concept into two major parts. The first part is the game component. The second component is the education or the learning component. So, learning component. So, basic, go back to the goal, go back to your learning objective, go back to the learning outcome, go back to the skill that you would want to be developed, and make sure that there is an achievement component. The second component is the game part. Okay, this is the challenging because you really have to understand you really have to understand the game component. So there should be challenge, there should be reward, there should be competition, and last but not the least, which is very very important, is how are you going to ensure engagement among the student or among the players or the learners in general. So again, Alfie, there are two. One is the education component, meaning the teaching and learning component, and the game component. The teaching and learning, last also is maybe I could add is do not give so much stress and time to the game part. You have to make sure that you are just using a teaching pedagogy called gamification. Meaning, the skill to be developed is not about the game, on how to play the game, but there is a learning outcome that you wish to learn by the student.
I was about to say something like we shouldn't be carried away with the game part. Let us always also remember that it is the learning part that has to be really delivered, and also that the students will be able to have not just the fun of the learning but the learning itself. Um, you were talking, sir, about rewards earlier when it comes to doing this gamification. So there are some students who are not motivated to participate in virtual class games. Dr. Sanjaya also has mentioned badges and even rewards earlier. Um, when students, when they see that they will just play games and have fun with and have fun without rewards, they sometimes get discouraged. um, for me, I have done applying badges to activities, especially if we are using Moodle, that could be definitely done. And then rewards could also come in the form of letting them access the lesson earlier than the rest if they are in this level, just what Dr. Sanjaya has said earlier. If they are in this level, they will have to forgo taking the quiz or something like that. But how about other ways or appropriate rewards to be given? No, are we, am I even doing the right reward system when it comes to gamification activities? It's not just the badge. It's this, there should be something other than the badge, or maybe like the icon or the certificate.
Yeah. As I mentioned, there are two basic concepts when we gamify our classrooms, and there are three ways: either the content, the delivery, and the assessment. Now, it also varies. It also varies because, as mentioned, it's not all the time badge. It's not all the time stars. It's not all the time certificate, because this may not necessarily a translation of reward, because they don't it's inappropriate for them to the kind of learning. So go back again to the type, because there are types of gamification also. The one that you'd mentioned is the badge. That's basically one, no? Because there is a so-called structural reward and the so-called content reward. So when we talk about structural reward, these are the type of giving more points, no? Giving more points, like if they completely answer a certain or watch a certain instructional video, you will be given additional 2 points. Okay, or perhaps you have a learning journey. So learning journey to 1 to 10, but there could be a learning journey like 1 3 to 10, but there could be a learning journey like 1 3 4 7 to 10. So the 4 and 7 is an added time for the student. If there is an added time, then you can give additional points for the student. Okay, now for content type, you can actually give more story, more let's say for example hint, or more um
Clues.
hint, like clues rather, clues, like what would be the questions to be given in the future exam or over the weekend. Okay, so it's not all the time like a badge, and there are other ways. Then of course you can say, we can, if you will complete this on time, then you will be given additional 2 points for the quiz next time. So for sure, the students will submit that on time. Diba? Remember, in the deadline, students are always deadliners. I do that in my class. If I say the number of days is equivalent to the number of points will be added to your quiz. So let's say, for example, if they will submit that in the next 3 days, then 10 days, the quiz or the activity is deadline within 10 days. If they will submit on the third day, then I'll give them 7 points. The student will be hairy in submitting their deadline. So again, to answer that question, it's really go back to the nature and the kind of your gamification, because giving badge is one, points another, point is also another one. Another also is giving more resources to them, giving more clues to them, and I even give like exemptions. Like if you can reach a quiz for 75%, you will be exempted to the next quiz. Something like that. That is actually still gamification. Okay? You don't need to have a super grand and very complicated RPG game to have a gamification or gamifying your classroom.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that one. That's also like a reminder that even without an LMS, these things could still be carried out because it's actually how you place this gamification techniques in class. So yeah, I know everyone would still want to talk about gamification, but let's move on to AR and VR. And we usually hear of AR and VR, especially in ICT integration in education. But one of the difficulties in incorporating AR in education is the lack of training for its use and application in innovative teaching strategies. Here in Siliman, we partnered with a Hong Kong-based university in our AR trail, and we even have our own now. What are other initiatives that were done lately to address this issue and augment our AR and VR integration? Sir Dave, do we have other when it comes to our
W- w-
projects for?
Oh yeah. Sometimes the AR and the VR in education is becoming more sensationalized. There are many simple and there are many non-complicated ways to incorporate AR and VR. Again, we are going to implement this not just to showcase our technology, but again, the main point why why we implement gamification is one reason is we wanted to increase student engagement and at the same time having fun. That's basically the major aspect why we do gamification. And of course some other studies also shows that it can boost enthusiasm among the students, and sometimes it can give really so much attention to the student. Now, what are some specific? Just use the simple one. You can use even QR code integration in your teaching and learning. In the Philippines, I think you are familiar with a viral teacher just simply using a QR as a way of their attendance checking, things like that. At Siliman, I had several projects also funded by the United Board by a funding agency to teach responsible use of social media. So instead of a boring lecture of a responsible use of social media, we integrated like a learning trail. It's a trail like parang it's like an amazing race. You have to go to a certain building, use the QR code, answer the question so that you can go to the next QR code and so on and so forth. But while doing that game, they're also learning how to become a social, a responsible social media. Currently, which I am done, I am about to end also a project called it's a whole person education game app at Seliman because at Seliman we are promoting our whole person education. So we try to measure how students are whole person understand whole person education. We integrate QR code and some augmented reality application. So the keyword here is you don't need to be complicated. You don't need to use super highfalutin technology and super complicated that you need a very high paid programmer to do that. But the important thing really is go back to your learning outcomes, go back to the intention of the objective of your teaching and learning.
Thank you, sir. For Dr. Sanjaya, we have um, any applied any AR or VR um, application or yeah devices wherein we could actually incorporate it in programming courses?
Uh, yeah, it's a good question also. Actually, for our programming, we only need to use a computer screen, actually. But if we want to have AR or VR, we can back to 2018 that Oculus already give the scholarship for the developer that already provide the programming tools like in MIT App Inventor based on Google, but using the Oculus, using the virtual reality. But I don't know now, 2020, the website is not yet is not able to be open. But this is the example that we can learn programming, but not exactly in the hard code programming, uh, similar with the visual programming, but using the virtual reality. Now, this is the example, but actually we only use the computer screen is enough. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm also curious because it was like mentioned, slightly mentioned in your video. What is the advantage of using an AR marker in a PowerPoint presentation over that of just simply adding the link to a video?
Yeah, for the first one is we don't need the video editing skills to insert the link in the video, but using the AR in the PowerPoint presentation, just put it AR presentation. And the second, like Sir Dave said, it's increasing the enthusiasm, interact the student to do something with the courses. It's not just only learn and wait and so boring class. They can join the activity by using their hand and their phone, and then scan the AR marker, and then something happen in the phone, and not only show the video, not only show the picture, but also show the animation or any visualization about the content. So it's a more interest than only see the video. Thank you, Dr. Alvi.
Yes. So it's really not just viewing, it's actually helping them out to interact with the content. So that is actually the value of placing the AR marker in our PowerPoint presentation. So hopefully
Right.
everyone out there would be able to use that one for the next for your next lesson. Okay. So we have here, despite the many benefits of AR in education, what are the certain issues involving AR implementation? Sir Dave?
What are the issues? One is go back to the basic. One is understanding the function, the main function. This is actually related to techno pedagogic skill of the teacher. That's really the challenge. Letting the teachers understand the main function of the gamification component. Of course, that's the technical skill is needed, and then when the technical skill is missing, it will lead to the missing of the pedagogic component into gamification, because what we observe also is the diversion of focus, which the students now are too focused of the game and they forgot the intention, the intention of the game. That the intention of the game is about your material, about your objective, and about the content of the subject matter. That's really the challenge. And that's from the techno to pedagogic is we can actually add on how can we sustain all of those, because sustaining student engagement is really a challenging task to all of us, because for one, you cannot gamify all the times to your class. And I agree with one of the comment from our participant that not all students enjoy the game, no, because considering that there are multiple intelligences from our learners. There are many, really. That is why if you notice, if ako, I check the engagement of the students in every game, and then I call the attention. How come that you're not really participating the game while the rest of your classmates are enjoying. So you can determine that the students are not really kinesthetic, perhaps not really visuals because they don't like, to participate on the game. So it's a challenging, dear teachers, it's really a challenging challenging role to all of us if we are going to incorporate gamification as a teaching strategy. And there's a lot. My tip, perhaps, if don't focus too much, give time so much of the tool, but give time yourself to understand how to increase engagement among the students, because there are easy tools and platforms that you can use.
Okay, so when we are talking about AR and VR, there is that kind of intimidation, maybe resistance on some of our teachers in using that in facilitating learning. So um, how can we reduce um, the teachers' resistance and even the students' resistance? Because you mentioned earlier that because of their learning style, they are not into using these things. Um, how could we reduce our resistance towards the use of VR and AR?
That's to me. That's for
Yeah,
me.
it could be for you, it could be for Dr. Sanjaya.
Maybe Dr. Sanjaya can give us some tips because he is into AR and VR.
Yes, I know that he is really into the very technical terms and the very technical things to do, but how would we be able to reduce our teachers' resistance when it comes to the use of VR and AR, sir?
Yeah. Uh, I'm not sure if we use VR or ER in easy way or in fun way. Uh, Many people have resistance, but in my case, in my experience, we not we not only use VR or ER for the serious way, but also the simple way, like if we come to the library and then somebody appear in front of us and then say hello and just say how are you, and uh, it feels okay for many people, and they already and then they increase to ask what kind of this tool, and then what is another tool like this in the library and so on. So we can use VR and ER not only for the serious way, not only for the the thing that have to explain a lot. Only say a little and only say the simple thing, it will increase the interest of the people to see what next level of VR or ER that I can see after this. Thank
Yeah,
you,
I
Dr.
think that's a
Alvin.
very good way to start or introduce AR and VR. Maybe it shouldn't be a very heavy, or we shouldn't condition ourselves that it's really very difficult or heavy. In a light way, it should be introduced in a light way, the way Dr. Sanjaya said, and maybe we escalate as we go on.
Right.
It could actually be just used so casually, and then eventually learning would escalate in the easier if it were introduced that way, it were introduced easier.
Yes. It's mute.
You
Mute.
got muted,
Alfie,
Alfie.
Alfie, you just mute.
Sorry, I have one last question. It's about collaborative work. I know Dr. Sanjaya has already mentioned that breakout sessions or breakout rooms and all those other things are collaborative tools. No, collaborative work is really a good way to encourage student. Indeed, no, and student engagement using various online platforms, but due to the lack of resources, because we just mentioned just a few, it is hard to integrate much to the class, especially now in ODL or online distance learning. Which among the given means would be the easiest to access? Is there training for this collab platforms, yeah, I think I would ask Dr. Sanjaya that, and I believe Dr. Dave could also answer the training part later on. So, Dr. Sanjaya.
Yeah, I will suggest to use it first, like the latest cloud-based platform like Jamboard. Just use it, and then feel the differences. Because after we use the tools like Jamboard, we can feel that this is so easy, and the resource limitation is not the barrier, because this is web-based platform, and then no need more resource to load the application. But without training, we only need to try for a while, yeah, just 3 or 5 times until 5 times, and we definitely can do it and immediately master the tools. Thank you, Dr. Alfie.
Yes, so it's really like it's a matter of us first doing it, and then a few times we do it, it's actually easy. It doesn't really need training, no, to be able to use it even in our class. I will also give some time to Dr. Dave when it comes to training of this collaborative tools, or maybe even with all the components that we have, or all the elements that we have mentioned or discussed here. Sir
Yeah.
Dave?
I think the basic thing that we should do, as explained to us by our speaker, you have to try it first by yourself. Try it first, and then just stick to the most comfortable tool for you. There's a lot. Dr. Sanjaya keep on mentioning about Jamboard, Kahoot, Mentimeter. You cannot have it all. I mean, yes, it's okay that you know them all, but to be honest with you, I don't like the other, but I like the other. No, I have one tool actually. I don't use Mentimeter. Why? Because I just don't like it. Why? Because I use my poll everywhere, because that's the first tool that I learned, I guess, 10 years ago. When Kahoot came in, okay, I have to love Kahoot. But when Mentimeter came in, oh, never mind. Stop learning, because I'm contented with Kahoot. I can complement already what I need in my Kahoot. Things like those. You don't need to have really sophisticated and try them all, and no one or none of your initiative is perfect. So just try with the basic, just try with the simple thing. But really, the important factor there is learn the education component of gamification. Technology will just come in, meaning we have technology will only complement the learning component, because again, after all, we are just using gamification as one of the tools and resources in the technology flexible learning.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. How time flies. It's already time. And I know there are a lot of questions still unanswered, but I think they're open to emails and chats if ever these questions weren't answered for the afternoon. So that's a wrap, everyone, for our deepening session. I hope it was an insightful afternoon as well as a productive one. Thanks for joining us. I now turn you over to Professor Jonathan Te for your attendance and some announcements. So, Te?
Thank you,
Thank you
Mom
very much.
Alfie. Thank you, Mom Alfie. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Sanjaya.
Alfie.
And thank you, Dr. Dave, of course, for providing additional tools that is catered to the connectivity, to the connection, to the bandwidth problem, to the always prevailing bandwidth problem in the Philippines, which, we have already mentioned to Dr. Sanjaya, Dr. Sanjaya will not be able to solve that. Okay, so yes, I actually wanted to check on the chat session on whether we have some questions left there, but I think Dr. Dave was able to provide answers, especially when they were asking about the resources, no? So we are very thankful, of course, to Dr. Sanjaya and of course to Dr. Dave for providing us with additional insights from our live session. And of course, Ma'am Alfie for moderating our session for this afternoon. Okay, next, Ma'am Lobel. Yes, so allow me to provide the link to the attendance for this afternoon. Okay, so for a while, I have to copy it just to be sure, no? Okay, and to be easier for everyone, of course, to just click it from the chat session. So there you go. Okay, so you have the opportunity to click on that right now. That will close what time? 3:15, by 3:15. Okay, so make sure that you get to answer that, and it would be advisable for us right now to quickly get on with it, especially that it's raining here in Dumaguete. We're scared when it rains here in Dumaguete. Next slide, please, Ma'am Lobel. Okay, so we are presenting this certificate to Dr. Sanjaya. So everything is virtual right now. This is the reward for
Thank you.
Dr. Sanjaya. Yes, our certificate is signed by Dr. Dave, of course, being the director of the Silliman Online University Learning, and by our Vice President for Academic Affairs in Silliman University, Dr. Erjude Paul Cleope. Okay, so that is giving
Thank you.
the participants for this afternoon while we are on the certificate that they have the opportunity also to answer for the attendance for the afternoon. Okay, next please. So please do not forget the open forum. Please continue to share, and the knowledge check is also active. Please take note also. And for the evaluation, allow me to share also the link for everyone. Okay. So you can already open that. Make sure that you have that and answer the evaluation link. Okay. And there's also an additional activity, which of course you have the time to be able to answer also. Okay. Next, please. So for next week, and that would be week 7, if I'm not mistaken. So it's on instructional design in technology enhanced flexible learning, which we would be joined by our very own Dr. Viola Torres, who is our director for the Office of Instruction in the university. Okay, so okay, so next please. And it's our photo opportunity, so I'm pretty sure that Ma'am Lobel will ask you to open your cameras if you are able. So I will invite you ahead to open your cameras, and go ahead, Ma'am Lobel, take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for sharing your camera, and I will now start capturing. I have here 6 sets. I'll start with the first one. Please hold your pretty smiles. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Maraming salamat po sa lahat at dito na po nagtatapos ang ating activity for today. Maraming salamat po.
Next group. 1, 2, 3. And we're now down to the third. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Next. 1, 2, 3. Next. 1, 2. Okay. And we'll now go to the last group. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your camera.
Okay, Thank you, everyone. Time check. It's 2:57 p.m. Philippine time. So go ahead, Ma'am Lubel, with your screen share. I hope that you're not encountering any problems so far. I think some have not encountered a problem. I've shared the link again for whoever is having that problem. Go ahead, Ma'am Lubel. Okay, so we are thankful for your participation for this afternoon, and please take care, keep healthy, and keep safe, everyone. Okay, thank you, Dr. Sanjaya. Thank you, Ma'am Alfie.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
po.
Dr. Dave.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you,
you very
everyone.
much, Dr.
Thank you,
Sanjaya.
Dr. Dave, Dr. Jonathan, Dr. Alfie.
So much
Thank you.
po.